Rulers of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me. Songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between, because we can. And we're being broadcast live tonight, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And on YouTube. So hello, YouTube. Make sure you hit the like, the thumbs up button, all that stuff, because you can. And no matter how you are hearing me, make sure you stop in and say hello in one of the chat rooms. If you can't say hi in a chat room, send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. Lucky, you're funny. I'm wearing my bathrobe because I'm warm and it's fuzzy and I'm comfortable. Yes, and I have my fuzzy slippers on. Oh, goodness gracious me. If you want to support the show, you can do so by going to etsy.com/shop/Monarch Mountain Studio with MTN for mountain. Or you can go to patreon.com/TheSpacesBetween. Or if you want to just, donate to my cause and support my my habit of being on the radio, you can just do the cash tag, and that is the $, the spaces between. The call lines are open tonight. That number is 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, you can dial 44203-393-2871. And if you have a moment, check out iLife.com. iLife is the official sponsor of Truth Frequency Radio. And while, it's good. It's good. Actually, it is good. Think of it as unleaded ayahuasca, blended with quality CBD oil, and just good to help what ails you. So, yes. Justin, I was wondering the same thing. I have not heard from Titan lately, so I hope Titan is doing great. There's been no questions from Titan, which is weird. And, everybody needs a fuzzy bathrobe. I don't care where you are. It's just, you gotta have the fuzzy, comfy bathrobe. Because, yes, it is the thing that you must have. Justin, that escalated very quickly. So tonight, the title of the show is Find Your Focus. And for those of you on YouTube, you can see I've got a cup of coffee dripping in the background. That's because tonight I kind of want to just sit around the coffee table and chat. So I'm expecting questions. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But mostly, I've got two other kind of topics, but yeah, we'll go here. I just want to touch base, see how everybody's doing. And if you have thoughts or ideas, by all means, give me a holler, shout them out. We'll chat about them online. But in the meantime, until I get a question, I wanted to talk a little bit about deities. And here's why. Often I hear, or I hear from people directly, or I see it in a social media post, someone who is a new pagan or witch, or even someone who's been practicing for a little bit, and they don't have their own patron deity or patron spirit, or perhaps they have a list of them. about, a mile long. It's kind of like Santa Claus checking his list, you know, making sure, he's got the naughty and nice all sorted out. Yeah, well, same kind of thing. It seems like a lot of folks either don't have one or they have all of them. And it's really hard to focus on what you're doing if you're really worried about who your patron deity is, or if you have all of them. Because yeah, you need to be a little bit aware of your time and what's going on in your world and what you're capable of doing. Because if you say you work with all the deities, that you're pantheistic instead of polytheistic, and you work with all of them, that's highly improbable. I won't say it's impossible. I'm just improbable. And the reason for that is so many of the deities don't really connect. Like a creation deity and a death deity are kind of the flip side of the same coin. Are they similar in such? Sure. One's an additive force and one's a subtraction force. So, if you're not sure of whom you're speaking with, the energies that you're wanting to put into your rituals or your ceremonies or your magic are not going to give you the results you want because you're giving the opposite information or the opposite energy. It's like, hey, I want to bake chocolate cookies. And instead of putting chocolate in your cookies, you put horseradish. They just don't work. So, yeah, they just don't. And Lucky wants to visit everybody, and I'm okay with that. You should do it. It'll only take a month or 2 or 3, maybe 5. I hope you have a boat. You might have to go somewhere else. Across the country, across the ocean. Yes. And Chris Jarvis says, hey, I have 2. Is that too much? And the answer to that, no, 2 deities is not too much. It's when you have like 20 in multiple pantheons. I just, it boggles my mind to the point where I have a hard time speaking to it, if that makes sense. Because, and the reason why I say that, other than the whole opposite in energies, and Lucky, I'm going to send you a box of horseradish cookies, apparently, is that you can't really devote your energy appropriately if you are trying to follow or honor 20 different deities. Maybe they all have contrasting requirements when it comes to incense or something like that, or whatever it is you're giving to them as an offering, or yeah, we'll leave it at offering. I'm having a hard time with the words tonight, guys. Sorry about that. And Toth and Horus, they're at least in the same, pantheon. Nightshade asks, how in the name of the lady do you keep that many straight with that many? I don't know. I have a hard enough time remembering my own name, let alone trying to remember 20 different deities. Could I sit here and rattle off 20 different deities? Yes. But, I don't have the space to devote a church to, that many deities or pantheons. I really don't. Don't have the energy for it, honestly, for crying out loud. Because, yeah, if you're going to you're going to do a ritual and you have 20 different deities, and 20 is just an easy number to rattle off. Yeah, 20 different deities. So, and you want to call on all your deities to do the thing. Well, you got to make sure you have all the right incenses, the correspondences, you're speaking to the right thing, you've got the right representations, and that the ritual you've written out for them to do to do your ceremony, um, attributes the right things to the right people in the right order without making anybody feel slighted or, I mean, it's just, um, it's just, I don't know. It just, to me, it boggles my mind. How can you do that? Because, for me, if I'm doing a ritual, often it's like 5 minutes, maybe 10. It's short, it's to the point. Um, you pretty much focus and to the point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kind of like, I hate shopping, so I generally just, I have the things I want to get. I go in, I do it, and I leave. I don't really like wandering around the store very often. That was even before the COVID. There's other things I want to do in my life other than hang out at the grocery store. Um, Shopping for clothes, hate that. If I need socks, I go in, go right to the sock section, grab my socks, pay for them, and leave. Seriously, I don't stop and look at the t-shirts or the pants or anything else. Nope, I'm done. Just straight to the point. So, yeah, if that's all I want or all I have time for is a 5 or 10 minute ritual, but I'm supposed to be calling on 20 different deities, I'm overcomplicating my life. And often you really need to just focus on the 1 or 2 deities, maybe 3, that really speak to you. I follow Hecate. Hecate has been there for a very long time for me. She has been quite the mother figure in multiple aspects, and I am absolutely fine with that. No problems with it. And someone I can just speak to and I know is looking out for me, but still expecting me to fall down and go boom and have a bloody knee and get up and, figure out how to find the Band-Aids and take care of myself. But if I break a leg, well, then there's, she'll step in and make sure I'm being taken care of. Just not the helicopter parent. And then I feel called by Kununos. So those are the 2 primary deities I work with. Sometimes I call upon Epona just because she's the path walker, if you will. She walks the path and can guide you on the path. So that's like, hey, I need some direction. Now, periodically, I will call on other deities for a specific ritual, in part because the person I'm doing a ritual for uses that particular deity. It's like, hey, so-and-so, this person who's your person, they need a little bit of help. If you could do that little extra for them or give them that little extra direction or whatever, that'd be great. Let's see. Lucky Hecate or Kununos? I'll type them in because, yeah. Let's see. Can't type and top. There we go. Yeah, Kununos. Anyways, so yeah, find your focus. And when you find your focus, whomever it is that you're honoring, and I really do see it as honoring rather than worship, because unlike Yahweh, most of the pagan deities don't really want you to beg them for things. Petition, that's one thing. But honor. It's like I give honor and gratitude to the deities that are in my life, and I thank them. I also give honor and gratitude towards my ancestors and the spirits in my life. And the reason why I do that also is because honestly, my ancestors are going to be more interested in my success, have a greater or stronger vested interest in my success than a deity. Think of it this way. A deity is watching over 1 million people. my ancestor might be watching over 10. Who has more time to do the things or to be more focused on my benefit? I mean, and so that's why I honor the ancestors as much as I do the deity, because they have a greater interest in my success. I am the sum of their experiences and lives, at least to my making. Now I have kids and grandkids, so they are, in a different place. So, a different place on the ladder, if you will. But yeah, my ancestors still have a vested interest in my success and my benefit. So yeah, absolutely going to petition them probably first, unless it's a big deal, unless it's something big and major that I need help with. But that's kind of normal. If you need big help, you ask for the big help. Black Tree that you might see in chat rooms is she's a little on the shorter size, like just under 5 feet tall, and I would not have her come over to help me move a freezer. That she wouldn't be the first person on my list to call a freezer, because the freezer's big enough that I could put 4 of her in it, for crying out loud. So that's not the person who I would ask for help. Instead, I would be asking for help from someone who is my height, my approximate muscle mass, maybe Dawn, one of the older kids, yeah, that kind of thing. So you ask for help in the appropriate place. Now, love Black Tree to pieces. I don't expect her to come move a freezer. Drink a bottle of wine, yes. Freezer, no. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you approach the right person for the job, regardless of what the job it is. Just like you use the right tool. How often do you really successfully hammer a nail in with a pair of pliers? Can you do it? Yeah. Will it take you for bloody ever? Yes. Yes, it will. So make sure you're using the right tool for the right job. And in many respects, whichever deity or spirit that you're working with, spirit guide, has a lot to do with it. So now, if you're worried about how to choose a deity, that's okay. You make sure you're journaling it, because a lot of the signs that you might receive from a deity are going to come to you in your dreams, your subconscious, partly because your ego's still a little too loud, and that's okay. And oh goodness, I am so sorry, Sonia. Deep cleansing breath, Sonia, or shallow cleansing breath. Wait, sweetie. The toys, yes, they will give you the gray hairs. So, how to choose a deity? When it comes to choosing a deity, you need a relationship. First and foremost, it's not like, hey, I'll give you all the chocolate if you'll be my deity and be my dude. Which one are you gonna do? Which deity is gonna say, hey, well, I'll take the chocolate just so I can be your dude? What if it's not the right dude? Seriously, what if it's not the right one? So, and honestly, you don't have to have a deity to work with. Just because you think you need one, or you don't necessarily have to have one. You don't even have to technically believe in deities or other deities to be a witch or a pagan. You can be an absent of deities if you need to. Sure, Lewis, we can do some cleansing breath meditation with the singing bowl. And you don't, again, it's not worshiping a deity, it's a pagan or an honoring. Now, that being said, if you are Wiccan, specifically, often, yes, it is a religious practice. Wicca is religion. Witchcraft is not. Very, very different. You can be a witch without being Wiccan, and you can be Wiccan without being a witch. They're they don't always combine. So, and technically, you can. Hey, Mr. Wizard. As an everyday person, yes, absolutely honor the deities, honor the ancestors, whatever. But that doesn't mean that you have to do all the things for that particular one. Instead, if you think about it, that's what the priesthood is for. The high priest, the priestess, priest, all that. They're there to help do the extra bits that might need to be done with the deities. Because the relationship between a priestess or a priest and the deity or deities is significantly different than that of just a person. That's all. Maybe it's a stronger relationship or a longer term one. But that path is a little bit different. That's why in so many covens or circles or moots or groves or what have you, there's different levels that you can be, whether you're a dedicant or a seeker or an apprentice or what have you. It means that you're at a different level, and you can stay at certain levels indefinitely. Not everybody is called to be a priest or a priestess within their particular tradition. And that's normal, and it's okay. It's okay to just kind of do the pagan version of going to church on Sundays. Yep, I honor the deities. I do the little bitty rituals or the honoring or whatever at home, light the candle, burn the sage, woot woot. But the bigger celebrations and observances are with your group, if you have that opportunity. Now, if you don't, that's something else entirely. If you're a solo practitioner or solitary practitioner, often you are your own priest or priestess, and that's okay too. Again, your relationship with the deities are going to be a little bit different. So, this is, I'm kind of using an article from Shaban Johnson on how to choose a deity, and I'll try to remember to put the link to the article in the show notes so you can kind of read more from her article, because there's some really good information in there. So matron and patron deities are terms used in many different witchcraft religions, and yes, there are more than just Wicca. Some religions place a significant focus on duality and have one deity of each gender, and some just have the one deity, or they have just the one gender. Most will let you build smaller relationships with other deities, even though you have a specific matron or patron that is specific to that witchcraft religion. And some deities are super interested in having priests and priestesses again. They really are. And they're excited about it. But they'll demand that you only, worship them or honor them. And that's fine if that's what you're into. Just be aware. And in the article, she says, please notice that she says worship, not believe in, because you can believe in one god or you can believe in many gods. Patrons and matrons are the ones you invest the most time and effort and energy in, because not all of them are as demanding of time and energy. What's this? Dawn brought me a thing. What did Dawn bring me? Sorry, pause. It's all the shiny stuff. Oh, is this from Miss Deb?
That is from Miss Deb. That is Rocky Road Fudge.
Yay, Miss Deb sent fudge. And I don't have a knife on me.
You don't need a knife. It's fudge.
Do you want me to share with anybody else?
Well, yeah, me.
Okay, well then I probably shouldn't just pick up the whole piece of fudge and take a bite. Although I can. Oh, yum. Chocolate and marshmallows. Let's see. Anyways, I'm going to kind of pause there because I got distracted by the fudge. Because, hello, it's the fudge. And we're about to go to our first break already. So, Lewis has asked if I can do the cleansing breath meditation and the singing bowls. And I'll do that after the top of the hour. Just a little more time there to do that. And it kind of flows with the singing bowl that I do at that point anyways. So, yeah, we'll do the stuff to feel the betters. Because, Lucky says, with the title being Focus, it's really easy to get my attention with the fudge. Hello, it's fudge. I already talked about chocolate. You're the one who wants horseradish cookies. Yeah, just bleh. Bleh. Yes. It's Rocky Road Fudge with chocolate and marshmallows. So anyways, we'll be right back after this break.
As we will, so mote it be the spell forever.
Songs of love and love of life, guide us
my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. And now that I've had 2 pieces of fudge, I'm probably going to be bouncing off the ceiling, followed by
So
a
much
quick
for
crash. Yeah, focus. Yeah, there's no focus here. Yes, and Mr. Don is in the house, and he's choking on his spaghetti. Let's see here. So just before break, Woods Wizard said, in front, or everyone is a priest or priestess in front of their own altar. And yes, and I have to tell you, that is one of the best things, or my favoriteest things about being a pagan, is I don't feel compelled to not develop my own relationship with the deities. Now, so I tried really, really hard to be a Christian. I did. I tried very hard. I taught Sunday school. I tried so hard. And within Christianity, depending on which denomination you are, the relationship that you develop with Yahweh varies. And so it's was frustrating to me because often you could only seek absolution by going to the priest or priestess. You couldn't you weren't
you couldn't just confess your own crimes and then self-flagellate and be done with it.
Yeah, that something like that. Yeah, but like the baptisms, you had to have a priest or a pastor or
whatever
a clergy person of some sort do the ceremony. And same with weddings or any of the like communion type stuff. You had to have certain people within the church were the only ones able to, teach the rites of communion, and it varied with the different denominations. And that was an insanity bit also. So as a pagan, I feel very, very empowered, if you will, to develop my own personal relationship with deity. And I'm saying deity in a generic sound or a generic way, because it's not just the god or goddess. It could be all of the deities, none of the deities, the spirit guides, or any of the people. Is not just Yahweh. And so for me, that's a huge strength with paganism, because there is a lot about Yahweh that really didn't appeal to me. And, in trying to be Christian, I was never a very good Catholic. I have, if you're reading the 10 Commandments, there's some issues in there when it comes to the saints and the Catholic practice. And then there's the angels and the archangels and all of the whole pantheon there. And it was always just that, oh no, it's just one God. But if you stop and think about it, now there's multiple gods within Christianity. And there's just so many things that were just, the different dogmas just didn't hold enough water for me. So, expanding my horizons and just embracing my paganism, I'm much happier here. I can be me. I can wear my fuzzy bathrobe and do a YouTube show while wearing my fuzzy slippers and eating the fudge. Or drink, like last night I had the ginger mead that Mr. Wizard sent, which was awesome. So yeah, it's just, that ability to develop the relationship. However strong you want that relationship to be is entirely up to how much work you're willing to put into it. So if you're only going to give a token nod to deity, whenever there's a community ritual, if you will, You're just kind of a token pagan. Just like if you had only, given the nod to Yahweh during church, then kind of just a token Christian. And that's not a very PC thing to say, but that's really the way of it. So, in my opinion, and I get it if your opinion is different, and that's okay. So, technically within paganism, you don't have to formally dedicate yourself to any one specific deity. You don't have to call them a matron or patron. Some deities don't really like that title. It's not. It's more like a parental role, and some just aren't up for that. They'd rather be your friend. Can you imagine walking up to Dionysus and saying, "Hey, you're my god, and I'm only going to give offerings to you, and I'm not going to sit here and drink with you." That may not be the relationship that Dionysus prefers.
You better go have a drink with Odin.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you an Odinist if you don't drink mead?
Yes, because they still drink ale.
Okay. So, but yeah, so some are more pure rather than parental, and that's what they prefer, or coworker, or some do prefer the supreme god crawling worm type relationship, and each of the deities are very individualistic, and each of them are going to want something different from you. All of them like to be honored in some way, shape, or form, but you don't have to. And not all of them want to be worshipped. I mean, seriously, it'd be like worshiping my cat. Granted, Andromeda probably thinks we worship her, but that doesn't mean we do. I don't know. Do we? We bring her food. We clean up after her. She tries to sit on the computer, and I won't let her.
Yeah, she's mad at me for the same thing. I
Um,
wouldn't let her sit on it when I was cutting that podcast today.
yeah.
She's
So,
mad. Oh, well.
but at the same, relationship with a cat. That's one type of, deity versus applicant type or supplicant type relationship, and the relationship you have with your dog. That's a slightly different interpretation. Dogs generally look at you as God. So, yeah, just remember the different relationships that you may have with the deities that you work with, or your spirit guides, or your ancestors is just a little bit different. Chris in chat says Toth just comes after you for overdue library books. Okay. Maybe you shouldn't have the overdue library books. The penalty is less if you return the book on time. And you don't have to formally announce a main deity or a relationship with a main deity unless you really want to. Often throughout your pagan practice, you will have several different deities that you work with. And as you mature or change or age, the deities you work with may change as well. You may be more likely to work with a younger deity, for instance, when you're younger, or an older deity when you're older. And that's just kind of the way of it. And each of the deities that you work with are going to be as different as the relationships that you have with the people around you. And you may not treat them all the same, and that's okay. Let's see. The article continues, well, how do I know which one? How do I choose a deity? Well, if you do want the patron type of relationship with deity, you don't just open a book and start paging through it and figure out, hey, I want this one. It's kind of like ordering a mail order bride. Can you do it? Yeah. What's the success rate? We'll just call it variable. It's a variable success rate. You're not here yet. You're just up and down. Okay. So, Justin, you could probably take those back up to the kitchen.
Anyhow.
Okay. Justin says that that he feels most faiths around the world are very similar with guides or deities and have very similar stories and histories. They're just thought of from a different culture, so it's hard to explain. Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of commonalities between the different deities from one pantheon to the next. In some places, I mean, all it is a slightly different name. Think of the Greeks and the Romans. A lot of similarities. They probably are the same. They just have different names. And yeah, Horus the Younger to Horus the Elder. Yep. Justin also feels that there are a lot of things left out of the Judeo-Christian writings that separate it from the rest, and they used it more for control. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of control issues with the Judeo-Christian world. And Sonia says, I don't think that we choose. She feels like the deities choose. And you know what? Yes, there is that. I mentioned earlier that I follow Hecate, mostly because she's been there for me for pretty much ever. But I was called by Cnunos. And hold on.
Oh,
real
no.
quick.
Let me get on that.
Mr. Wizard says, "Thou shalt not have strange gods before me," quoting the Bible.
Thou shalt not worship idols of others. You know,
It-
I am a
basically-
jealous God. What does he compare himself to? Where is the comparison? How does he know that there are others that you can worship?
Yeah.
How does he know that there's a golden calf or a deity connected to the golden calf? How does he know he's a jealous God if he's the only God?
Yes. So basically, yes. Yahweh even admits that there are other gods.
He's just mad
He-
and vengeful, and he wants you to worship him and him only.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, jealous God, that implies there's someone to be jealous of. Unlike some of the Greek or Roman gods where they get jealous and they turn you into a spider or a horse or a tree or whatever. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many things in the Bible
Mm-hmm.
that are just so contradictory to what the Bible is supposed to say.
Yes.
Supposed to, air quotes, supposed to say.
Mhm.
That it's so hard to look at it and go, am I supposed to take this as there is only one? Well, and he says that I am the one true God as well, implying that the other ones are imposters.
Yeah. So, are they really? No, they're just different deities. So, anyways.
Well, I like the way you put it. You know, that Christianity is a tradition, a pantheon all of its own, within the larger scope of other pantheons.
Oh, yes. So, when it comes to trying to figure out what deity you're working with, or should you be working with a deity, or trying to petition a deity, do some research. This is where you pick up the books and you learn about the things, which, as a new pagan or witch, you should probably be picking up the books and doing the things anyways. Yes, you should be. And here's why. If you're trying to work with a specific deity and you don't know who they are yet, but you're kind of wondering if you're seeing some signs, you got to read the books and understand about the deities a bit so you can recognize the signs. So yes, when the light clicked on and I realized, yes, I was being called by Cnunos. The representation of a deer, or the stag rather than deer, the stag, is showed up often. I've talked about Groot, my oak tree. I had an oak tree spontaneously sprout from my Yule log a couple years back. That's kind of a big deal. That's just kind of a big deal. And there's some other things where like, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, derp. And so a lot of it I didn't realize was happening until I was discussing with a priestess. It's like, hey, I'm seeing these things, I'm experiencing this stuff, and I'm not quite sure what it means. Well, since she'd already been down that road and she was a priestess, she could give me directions. Like, well, what do you think? I said, I'm pretty sure someone's calling to me. She goes, yeah, and who do you think it is? It's like, I think maybe. And she's like, ask yourself if that's really what you think, and set your intention and dream about it. And yeah. Okay, so I needed the guidance from a priestess to fully develop that relationship and acknowledge it. And that's the role of a priestess or a priest, is that guidance and that education purpose, and not telling me how to worship. Different rules and different structures. So, but in order for her to learn about it, she had to do a lot of research, a lot of studying. And so here I am on my path, and I am doing some research, and I am doing some studying, and I make notes and working on a book and some other stuff. And I have a lot of irons in the fire. And you know what? That's kind of the way I roll. But, if I hadn't have done the research, I wouldn't have had that clue. Like, hey, I might be seeing signs here, because I keep seeing these things over and over and over again. And I just didn't know. So Sonia in the chat says, yeah, I started having visions and dreams about the Morrigan. Never would have thought to work with her prior to that. There's a book by Courtney Weber about the Morrigan. Fantastic book. I would start there. And Nightshade in chat says, research is so understated in this day and age. Yeah, people don't research enough. They read the meme on Facebook or some other social media site and take it as the gospel truth. And it's not at all. So, be aware of your source material. So, excuse me. Yeah. Sonia already has the book. That's funny. It's a good book. And yeah, if you don't know anything about the Bible, you're fine. Don't worry about it. You don't have to read the Bible to be a pagan. I just really tried very, very hard to please my family instead of myself.
And that's what we're supposed to do when we're children. But we also need to grow up to be individuals.
Yeah, so, yeah. We should be teaching our children how to think critically and how to do the research and try to do the things and figure the stuff out. So that when we become adults and our decision-making skills are more finely toned, we can make those decisions for ourselves. But yeah, I tried really, really hard to be the good Christian, and it just didn't work. So, but much, much happier acknowledging Hecate is the...
Well, but that's like we said, that's not got anything that doesn't... that isn't meant as a slight to our Christian friends out there, because we have many, and there are many that listen, and we understand that, and we apologize occasionally for going off on those little bits. We do recognize it as a separate tradition, and if that's the tradition you're comfortable with, well then congratulations. I'm glad that you've made that decision. But that's the thing though, is the critical thinking, the feeling it out. And making your own decision. And, you talked about, you may not know what, excuse me, you may not know what deity is playing in your life at the moment, and you may not know, what their attributes are or whatnot. You can always say, to the Lord or Lady, I give honor to. And then pour a little out for the homies. I'm okay with that.
Well, I honor you, and it's like, hey, I want to learn more about you. What do I do? Give me some direction if I need it, or help me find the person who can give me the direction I need. Because sometimes when we're asking for help, it comes in a way that is not the most direct. because there's often more to be learned in the indirect route of study and research than just going to the person and asking the question. Could you walk up to your math teacher and say, hey, I need to understand what the square root of pi is and how to get it and where it came from? And the teacher may or may not give you a lesson, or he may say, go read your book. There's more to it than that, of course, but there's a lot of instruction that we have to do that's self-guided. And when we're researching and learning about deities, yeah, it should be self-guided. But we should not overextend ourselves to the point where we get lost in all the deities. So yeah, if you're new to being a pagan or a witch and you want to follow 20 different deities in 4 different pantheons, you're going to cross your wires on more than one occasion, and you'll confuse yourself. And instead of a less complicated path or journey, is going to be more complicated, and the results aren't going to be what you wanted. And because the results weren't what you wanted, it's going to be harder for you to be a true pagan, and you're going to fall out of the habit or not develop the good habits of honoring the deities and paying attention to the wheel of the year and what the full moon means. Because it's like, hey, I was told that if I do this thing on the full moon, it'll happen exactly this, or if I do this thing on the new moon, by the full moon, this will happen.
Yeah.
I know that if I drink enough water the morning of the full moon, I'm going to pee a lot by that night. That's about all I know. So I know that'll happen because, well, that's biology, and that's the way my body works. But, if I put a silver coin on the roof of my car so it'll fall off to meet whomever it needs to meet as I drive down the road, that my wish or my hope or my asking for will automatically be approved or given to me. Shoot, if that was the case, I would have won the lottery like 10 times by now. But that's not where I'm at in my life right now. That's not what I need. It's what I want, but need and want are 2 different things. So, and yeah, the deities will communicate with you in the way that they need to communicate with you. Not
every miracle that happens slaps you in the face every time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to look to see the results
Yeah.
of whatever that may be, as opposed to looking for it actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because to quote Christians, God works in mysterious ways. Well, let's think about this. They all work in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
If they don't want you to quite understand or know what's going on, they're going to just kind of do that, that thing. And then you'll either notice or you won't, and you'll pay attention to it or you won't. One of the chatters says, my deity is God, but also the saints. Now, there's the pantheon. There's the Judeo-Christian pantheon. And there is nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. There are people around the world, devout Christians, that honor saints. But they, God is the supreme. And that's fine. Absolutely. But you're still honoring those saints as, dare I say, demigods.
Or part of the pantheon, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's basically the equivalent. Mm-hmm. A saint is the equivalent of a demigod.
A lot of your, in some places, it's a spirit guide, and in other places, it's an angel. So it all the references don't always marry directly. Sometimes there's a little bit of an offset. So, and yeah, the deities will answer you in the way that they feel the most comfortable. So maybe that's giving someone a nudge to be there when you need them, or to give you the direction that you need when you need it, or to make the left turn instead of the right turn. Which, again, that's part of the reason why you should be doing the journaling, so you can see what's happening, so you can follow the differences.
And maybe there's a buildup that you're not noticing. And when you go back to your journals, you go, oh, this is where it started, and then this, and then it accumulates into this. And it's like, oh, that's called an epiphany.
Sometimes you have to have the epiphany to realize you had the epiphany. So you can have more epiphany. So, but yeah, and yeah, I do poke at Christianity a little bit, but that's just my roots, if you will. That's where my family is, and so that's what I'm familiar with. I'm sure if I was some other origin religion, I would probably poke at it more. But yeah, Yahweh is real. I will never deny that God is real. Yahweh specifically. Anyways, we're off to break. When we come back, we'll do some meditative breathing, some cleansing breathing. See you in a few. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Don Longbeard's in the house.
Usually.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yep.
Okay, sometimes.
Sometimes. Oh, goodness. Holy cow, Justin. You had a 1951 wheat penny fall out of the ceiling yesterday, and it might be worth up to $6,000.
What does that mean?
That means you're a lucky mofo. That's what that means. Yeah,
That's many pennies from heaven.
it's raining copper in your world. So, yeah. All right, so we're going to do the singing bowl. While we're doing the singing bowl, I want y'all to take the deep cleansing breath. As long as you're not driving, I want you to close your eyes, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. We talked about mindful breathing last night, so put some of that practice to work. You know, focus on where the air is coming in through through your lungs, and where you're feeling those breaths. Where are you feeling that air? Don't force them. And if it helps to count the breaths, count in for 3 and out for 5. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Then as the bowl fades, let all the negativity go.
Bullshit.
I'm going to throw rocks at you. I have rocks.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Truth. Maybe you need them. Get you some marbles.
Yeah, because I lost all mine.
Pretty much. And Justin, if you're going to tear up the floor, make sure you have a walkway so people don't fall through the ceiling. You want it to rain money, not people. And it hurts when you fall. Gravity sucks.
What is all that about?
I plugged my phone in to charge it.
Oh.
Because I noticed the battery was getting low.
So does anybody feel good?
I feel
Breathing?
pretty okay. Yep, breathing. I also had the chocolate.
In, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
Sometimes you just need the chocolate. So,
Count of 5. Jeez, I might as well just hold my breath.
all right. It's mindful breathing. Mindful breathing is good for you. It helps ground you, reduce anxiety, frustration, keeps you from poking your eye out, that kind of thing.
Using various blunt objects to gouge.
Pretty much. I have a wrench.
Oh, I have rocks I can throw too.
See?
Where did these come from?
Probably Mini-Me.
Probably.
She's kind of good about gathering all the rocks. So, when you're kind of wondering where you should start for looking for your deities, and because I understand it's a search, yep. What are you drawn to? Are you drawn to the outdoors, the indoors, books, mead, myths, legends? What kind of fiction do you read? Any of that? Maybe. What is it that you're thinking of? Interesting line here is choosing a deity is similar to choosing a pet, with careful thought, research, and consideration on how this new addition to the family will fit into your life. You know what? In a way, that's probably one of the most accurate statements I've ever heard. Because yes, you can be careful about which deity you pick. Yes. You do the research, and you're like, hey, yes, this is the deity I'm going to work with 100%. But sometimes the deity shows up and adopts you. We all know someone who's had a cat or a dog or a crow or a raven or chicken adopt you.
Lucky was just talking about she's had a lot of ravens around, or crows around, one or the other. Some kind of corvid.
Hugin and Munin, I swear that's who they were on a tree when I went to work this morning. Those were some big birds.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever wonder which is, if you're looking at a raven or a crow, look at the bird and ask yourself, is this one that I would like to pick up and carry on my arm, or would it make me tip over because it's so big and heavy?
Mm.
The raven will make you tip over. But these were some big, they're almost as big as an eagle. They were huge. They were probably the biggest ravens I've ever seen. But yeah. It's like, all right, hi. Hey, big birds, as I go by, don't poop on the car. So, yeah. And, if you don't find a deity to work with right away, it's okay. Breathe. Deep cleansing breath. It may not be the right time for you to be working with a deity, and that's okay. It really is.
Just honor the ones that you not understand, but realize or come to the realization of. Well, that would be realizing. Just honor the ones you, in general, as I said earlier. You know.
Well, and if you're doing different rituals at different times of the year, and like you want to honor Bridget for some reason because that's what you want to do, call upon Bridget. Say, hey, by the way, this one's for you. Cheers. That's okay. You can do that. You can focus for that one thing, because not everybody is going to have the same relationship with the deities. And if you are looking for the gods or the goddesses because you feel like you need a higher being to grant you the power to be a witch or the power to be a pagan, you don't. All of the energy that you need to do pretty much most of the workings in your world, the rituals, the spell casting, etc., is within you. It's within your ability to tap into. So it's not a lack of power that's causing you to struggle to get to do your rituals or to do the things. Often it's just a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding. I mean, could mini-me turn on the stove to cook something? Yes. Would I want to eat it? Probably not, unless she was 100% supervised, because otherwise we'd end up with scrambled eggs with cinnamon and garlic. And that just sounds horrible to me. So, but no onions because she hates onions, except as a seasoning. So I don't know. But yeah, it's until you understand how the different elements come together intuitively on a knee-jerk basis, sometimes it's hard to get the ritual done, to have the working work correctly. And sometimes those relationships are just like any other relationship. Some relationships are an acquaintance and some are BFFs, and that's okay. And you don't have to have the BFF to do the ritual or the ceremony. Mr. Wizard says, yep, when they decide to do so. Yeah, you know what? That's the other thing. The deities work on their own schedule, not your schedule. So if you want to win the lottery tonight, for instance, and you say, hey, Mr. Deity, Miss Deity, I want to win the lottery tonight. Well, one, you have to have some sort of vehicle for actually winning the lottery. So if you've not bought the ticket, it's not going to happen anyways. You have to do your own part. Seriously. And then the deity may not feel like it's your turn to win, depending on which deity you're talking to and how fickle that
and they can be fickle.
Yes, they can be very fickle. Sonia calls it your BAF, best acquaintance ever. Yes. So yeah, the deities will grant a request when they feel it's appropriate. That could be today. It could be next year. It could be in 10 years. So even those who pray to Yahweh, Often they do repetitive prayers or petitions trying to get the results sooner. But often it's the answer doesn't come when you want it to. Kind of like Garth Brooks has that song. It says, "Thank God for unanswered prayers."
Mm-hmm.
Well, stop and think about some of those petitions that you've asked to be granted. If you look back, it's like, is that something you really, really wanted? Is it something you really, really needed? Are you better off because you didn't receive it? Odds are pretty good, yes. So, especially when you're working with your own ancestors, they're going to do the things that they think you need rather than things you think you need, which is, again, part of the reason why they're fickle. But, yeah, if you think you need to win the lottery and your ancestors are a lot more pious, it's going to be hard for you to win the lottery. Or if your ancestors were a little... in my recent-ish ancestry, I have... let's see, who do I have? I have a welfare worker, someone who did worked with people who needed welfare, married to an insurance broker, whose and their parents were farmers, pretty much straight across the board. Then on the other side of my family, alcoholic, bank robber, Secret Service agent, spy, I think. She was a housewife, but you know, when you walk into a house, you're like, oh, I see. And you're a what? Yeah. Let's just say the home decor did not match the budget. So yeah, you know, it's when you stop and think about the roots and where you come from, mine are complicated. And if I ask for the things and I talk to my ancestors, the results are going to be varied. So be aware. The results may not be exactly what you anticipated, because the Secret Service agent was the father of the bank robber. So there's some rebellion in there, apparently.
That's not rebellion. That's straight up a finger.
So, yeah, you know, just remember, if you're looking at the world today wondering, oh my gosh, where did all of that stuff, did it come from? Why am I receiving these things? What is this? What is this care package? Why did I receive toothpaste and Preparation H in the same package? What the heck is going on? Stop and think about your ancestors. What did they give you? They gave you the tools they think you need. Partly because they were the tools they probably needed.
Says the Preparation H in preparation for the pain in the ass.
Apparently, because that's not where you're supposed to use your toothbrush. Well, Sonia goes, yeah, one side of your family could help the other. Yeah, my family is so complicated. Oof. Yeah, there's Gypsy in there too somewhere, along with Lutheran, and it's just... Yeah, I'm a mess. I'm happy being a pagan. It's so much less confusion. So much less. Sonia says, just use them in the right place. Yes. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when it comes to deities, if the gender really matters that much to you, which I get, don't be so fixated on the genders that we have applied to the deities, because often they are energetic beings that are non-gender specific. It's just like they identify with that particular gender. Just like Loki, for instance, gave birth.
Odin walked around dressed as a woman for a long time.
Dudes dress and drag all the time. That doesn't count.
So, yeah, just, yeah.
So, you see, you know, it's when you're working with the deities and you're trying to do the different things, understand that a lot of times the masculine, feminine energy, there's a duality of that within each of the deities. Some of it's stronger Some of it's weaker, but they're just as likely to flip.
Well, but then again, it's also, humans, fallible humans, putting personalities to these deities too.
Mhm.
You know, there's, there's, we're putting our perceptions on it. It's
Mhm.
the only way we can do things. So we put our perceptions and translate these beings and the things they do as feminine or masculine, and
Mhm.
that's our failing. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah, that's our interpretation. It's just like, for those of you who have pets, um, if you look at your pet and you're like, oh, I love you, you love me, we have the best relationship ever. Do you ever look at that same pet and wonder, man, you're such a jerk?
where did you come from, demon?
Why are you a smartass? So Basil, the beagle that we don't see very much anymore because he's just that old, he's a smartass. He will fake puking at the door so you get up so he can jump into your warm seat. Now, he doesn't do that as much anymore because he just finds the warm seat and doesn't move. But he used to do that all the time. If you didn't get up and get moving fast enough, he would fake puking. And the moment you open the door, he's like, woohoo, I'm out. See ya. I'll be back tomorrow sometime because I'm going to run. So, yeah, it's our interpretation. Yeah, he's a smartass. He's a jerk. But he's also our Basil. So, and yeah, poor old guy. Nowadays, he likes to sleep under his blankie.
But it's it's a matter of our interpretation
Mhm.
of what that energy feels like.
Mhm.
So saying, oh, I don't want to honor a feminine deity or blah 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 blah. Well, you know what? Honor the attributes that you honor,
Mhm.
not
Oh.
necessarily the gender.
Yeah. If you stop and think about it, any of the deities could be scary as F-bombs.
Hmm.
I see Hecate as quite the mothering figure, but there is a significant section of the world out there that is afraid of Hecate. They see her as a dark, angry goddess. Well, yeah, she can be. But if you've ever pissed off your mom, you know that your mom can be pretty dark and angry too. I've seen it. I've been there. So, just, yeah, some of it, the energy you're looking for or expecting to see is really what you're going to see. You're not going to see the other part of it until you open your eyes and allow your internal blinders get in the way. So, and yeah, Hecate is very powerful. And some people just are afraid of a power greater than their own. And that is true as well. So, how do you know if a deity is reaching out to you? Well, there's often a series of messages. It's not just a sticky note left on your monitor saying, hey, call me. There's going to be a series of things. Maybe you'll see lots and lots of ravens or spiders. Or when you get out of the car at work or at the store or something, there will be a feather on the ground. Or you're walking and there will be...
Pennies will fall from your roof.
Yeah, pennies fall from the sky. Maybe there will be a rock or a stone or a stick or a thing or whatever it is that sticks out that is not where it normally is. If you have a dream or a vision, for instance, and you're approached by a human figure that has a weird something, that's probably a deity, just like you in your dream with Odin.
No, it's pretty obvious that's who it was.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dreaming about a deity, yeah, there are times, yes, it may be a little more subtle. Other times it'll be, oh, I got it.
Welcome
Yep.
to the party.
Okay, can I get that mead now? So Lewis says bears. Yes. So let's see, hold on. Can't type and think at the same time. So, what Lewis wants to know about bears. So, the there's one called Artio, or Dea Artio. It's a Romantic or Celtic bear goddess. And so Artos.
Well, what about the bear clowns of Ireland?
Yeah, those are real.
But I mean, he talks about Lewis talks about his bears all the time, and maybe it's not necessarily a deity of bears, but maybe a deity that's talking to him with attributes of, say, stoicness or resolve or adaptation. So look for attributes, not necessarily the actual thing. It's a way we see them. It's how we perceive them.
Or what are the bears doing? So like Artemis is often depicted as hunting a deer or a stag, but one of her more sacred animals was a bear. Or Artio is connected. It was the bear goddess of the Celtic Gauls. Let's see. There's a couple of them. Odin, the All-Father and Bear God. Yeah, they call him the ultimate trickster. If you ever wonder where Loki gets it from.
Certainly not his dad. His dad's a giant. His dad's an ice giant.
Yeah. Yep. Odin has the affinity with bears.
Yeah.
So Odin is commonly associated with the ravens or wolves.
Better to be a wolf of
However-
Odin than a sheep of the Lamb of God.
Yep. There's some evidence as well from a lot of the archaeological stuff that Odin may have been guarded by two bears. And berserkers were considered shamanic warriors who often wore the pelts of bears. And so Odin would have been considered a very, very friendly with the bears.
The bears.
The bears. So I don't know if that helps. But that's just one of those things. There's several different deities that have bears in their background or in their totem animals, if you will. And so you just have to research it. So it's real easy. Google, fortunately, has a lot of information. Unfortunately, a lot of it has more to do with World of Warcraft or Magic the Gathering. So you have to pay attention. Do your research. Research. If you go to Wikipedia, Wikipedia itself is generally not a very good source. However, a lot of the information that you find on a Wikipedia page
has to have citations.
Is cited in the sources or down towards the bottom or somewhere in the article. And that is often the better place to find the information. So yeah, again, it's the research. It's trying to figure it out and do the things to figure out the stuff. So woodland or nature deities, honestly, Bigfoot is often commonly associated with the Green Man. I wonder how much relationship there is between the two. Is Bigfoot the little brother of the Green Man or the cousin or something? Or are they often one mistaken for the other? So possibly. It's just a matter of trying to figure out who or what. If you've read the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, there's a lot of allusion to the Tree Brothers being more like, I would say, dandified Bigfoot.
Was that Matt and Perrin?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
Loyal.
Matt? Huh?
Loyal, Loyal, L-O-I-A-L. Yeah, Matt ran into. What do you?
Well, he was turned into. Didn't he ultimately turn into some kind of an animal?
That was Perrin. He
Perrin,
turned into wolf.
A wolf. Ah.
Yes. So.
The Woodbows, yes.
Yeah. So there's. Okay, that's part of the reason why I asked about the fiction. So depending on which type of fiction you're drawn to, often can be quite the indicator as to which deity you're going to be more comfortable with working. If If you're drawn to, say, murder mysteries, you might be more into maybe Hades or some of the death deities because there's a lot of death associated.
Well,
Or
but
you
can
might also be
flip side of that, justice.
the justice deities as well. So it could be other ways. Again, which type of fiction are you called? Do you read, find entertaining, and want to pick up? So, yeah, Brave, DuckDuckGo, whatever it is that you use for your search engine. I just assume I'm being tracked all the time. That way I'm never, I just go with it and I don't worry about it. But anyways, so it's our last break already. It's been a fast night. Holy cow.
Sure.
I'm blaming it on all the sugar.
Sure.
All right, so we're off to break, and when we come back, we'll continue talking about finding the focus.
Lord within the sun, as we will, so mote it be, the spell forever done. Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we're off adventuring into the spaces between, talking about finding the focus. And, which deities should you really focus on or work with? Well, sometimes you don't need to work with one. You know, a lot of power within you that you need
Empower
to focus.
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Empower yourself.
And ultimately, I think that's what they really want you to do. And then they reward that,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah, that self-discipline. So let's see. And just before break, I was talking about, how do you know if a deity is reaching out to you? Well, generally speaking, you're not going to have Pan run down the road. Hey, pick me, pick me.
Are you sure?
I said generally not.
Okay.
It is Pan. It could happen. But yeah, you're probably
Who
going to
is
have
that cloven
Satan.
Satan.
If you're dreaming about it, that's real. This is part of the reason why we have the dream diary. You'll notice trends. And if you're seeing,
So you go empower yourself.
if you're seeing different things in your everyday life, in a repetitive nature, if the ravens are in an odd place often, maybe you need to look into the ravens more. If there's a fox sitting on your doorstep when you wake up in the morning and are drinking your coffee, you're like,
Try to remember her name.
I'm not that kind of fox. Say hello and, just like, hi, I'm going to drink my coffee. Maybe if someone gives you an owl statuette or a turtle statuette or something like that, or a different deity or something, do some research and look into it. And remember that you may not be contacted by the deity that you thought it is, or that you're the most drawn to. So don't assume that just because you want it to be Hecate, that it's going to be Hecate, because it might not be. It might be Diana, or Artemis, or or someone else. Just because you're getting the sign doesn't mean
She gave me the sign.
yeah.
That's what that fox was doing on my doorstep.
Just because a random number that you don't recognize is calling you doesn't always mean that it's a telemarketer. Probably,
Holly, yes.
but not always. Yeah. And yeah, don't assume that the deity that you want most is the one who's reaching out to you. So again, this is why we journal things. You write it down and you look it up and you do the research and you're like, oh, that's what that meant. And you have those aha moments. And it's good to have the aha moments because you need them. And yeah, we love the aha moments. And remember, no matter where you're at on your path, the deities may ebb and flow just like we do. And Mr. Wizard says deities appear to us in ways that we can understand them. Yes.
Which may confuse us into trying to figure out who the hell it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although if that clown ever shows up in my dreams, I'm not going to assume it's the deity because I'm probably not dreaming. It's probably more of a nightmare. Because I'm not really that into clowns.
His name is Pennywise.
I don't watch horror movies.
Just telling you. It's not the It clown. It's Pennywise.
He's scary as all get out. I'm going to stick with Akate. She's not as scary as that bloody clown.
Whatever.
Sorry. Just, yeah, no. So, yeah,
It's that clown from the movie.
it's a clown from it, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do have the clownies, yes. Just like the whole trend here not too long
Oh,
ago.
the scary clown trend?
Yeah, the scary
There'd
clown
be some
trend.
dead clowns laying around my
Yeah,
house.
you know, if a clown jumped out in front of me and I was out for a walk, okay, partly because I walk in the woods anyways, and if that's where I'm at, I'm probably carrying a gun. Clown jumps out at me. Clown is probably gonna get hurt.
Anyhow.
So, yeah. Yeah. So, yes, I know, Sonia, it is fear. But did they have to put it in a clown costume? They could have put it in a spider costume. It would have been better. Everybody would have understood that one faster. So, we are seeing a lot of Hollywood type shows nowadays about witchcraft and paganism and heathenry and druidism and this and that and everything else. And remember, okay, that's Hollywood. So the things you see on TV don't necessarily happen in real life. They just don't. I'm not saying they can't. They're not very probable. At all. And those things, though, often open our eyes to the idea that things could happen. And in opening our minds to the possibility, it opens our minds a bit more to the idea or the theory.
I love them, cat.
I know you do. I can't even talk. Blah, 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 blah. Lost my train of thought. Teach clowns. Okay.
He's gonna teach clowns the metric system starting with the 10 millimeter. Make perfect sense to me.
I don't have a 10 millimeter. I have a 3/8.
That's not what he means.
I can make a point with this, though. So, anyways, Hollywood has really opened our society to the idea and the acceptability of paganism and witchcraft.
Oh, Hollywood's teaching tolerance.
Sort of, in a hateful kind of way. Have you seen any of the new Sabrina movies or shows?
Nope, don't care.
They're a little odd. And yes, a lot of the Christians are anti that show because she talks about Satanism, and that's a different story.
Generally, they only fixate on the Christian ideal
I know,
because all witches are satanic.
but they're not.
I know.
So, anyways, there is a lot of Hollywood out there saying, with the acceptance of magic and stuff. And it's interesting to me because it seems like anytime we're about to be more accepting of an idea as a society, Hollywood seems to have a lot more entertainment in that direction. As if the entertainment is lessening our objection.
It's what it's doing is it's normalizing us to it.
Familiarity breeds contempt. No,
Familiarity breeds complacency.
that too. So, did they say, "Hey, Kate"? Instead of "Hakate" there, Sonia. Yeah. So yeah, there's be cautious of the entertainment, yes, there's a lot of information out there that they are propagating, and it is allowing pagans and witches to be more accepted in society. But also, on the flip side of that, if you watch closely, there's a lot of negativity in a lot of those themes. Even so, Don was watching. It wasn't. Was it Vikings? No, it wasn't Vikings. What was the other show? With the Viking type peoples and stuff in it. That you were watching.
Barbarians?
Yes, that one.
The Germans, actual German
Yeah.
people.
Anyways, it was interesting that the heathens were the bad guys, or the those who practiced the old ways were the bad guys. But they kept trying to portray those who followed Christianity as the acceptable or the good guys. But a lot of the Christianity types were committing more atrocities than the heathen types, or the pagan types. So, even in their attempt to make it more normalized, they also it also puts a lot of negativity out there. I know. Lucky says, "Don't look at the chat. It gets me every time." There's too many squirrels. Yes. Yes, there's a lot of squirrels, sparklies, distractions. I have 14 minutes to not be distracted. I don't know if I can do it. The fudge is wearing off. So let's see. What else?
What was your point of barbarians, though?
The barbarians often they were depicted as the bad guys because they
yeah.
were
Right.
they weren't the followers of Christianity.
Yeah, well, that particular one had to do with the Catholic Church and Romans anyhow, so.
Yeah, because the Catholic Church and the Romans have always been the good guys, right? Oh, sorry, sarcasm if you guys didn't catch that one. Yeah, talk about a group of people who have changed with the times a lot, or not.
Thank you.
Glitter squirrels, yes. So yeah, focus is when it comes to focusing, which I'm apparently having a hard time doing tonight. Don't get so distracted by all of the possibilities when it comes to being a pagan or practicing witchcraft. Instead, try to narrow down your focus. Learn one thing at a time, or go in one direction at a time, which is why I didn't really start looking into tarot very much until about halfway through this last year. Before that, it was runes more than anything. Even now, I almost prefer the runes over the cards, depending on the question and what I have available. And that's just how I am. I'm going to stick with Hecate and Caninos because, I don't want to overcomplicate my world more than I already have. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop learning about the other deities. That learning and discovering is good, regardless of whom you're following or reading about. Because sometimes down the road, you're going to find yourself working with those deities anyways, because as your path evolves, the deities you work with is going to evolve. Mm-hmm. So, pay attention to where your focus is. Don't try to do all the things all at once. If you're going to have a crystal grid, do a crystal grid. Read about crystal grids and what they are. If you're going to use a wand, read about wands and what they are. Are you going to make one? Are you going to buy one? Different stones, different woods, etc., etc. Same with a staff. Singing bowl. I like my singing bowl. Before you buy your own singing bowl, I would recommend playing several of them to find the right one for you. Chimes, same kind of thing. Or if you want to learn how to play like a Native American flute, well, there's quite a few of them out there. You can try quite a few of them. You don't have to pick the first one or buy the first one you pick up, like, oop, this is the one, I touched it. Yes, this is mine. You know, do your research, do the things. This is why the journaling is important, because you can go back through and say, oh, hey, that's what that meant. I understand now. And you can move forward. And it helps you to focus on specific things. If you're trying to do dream work specifically, set your intention for the night. It's like, hey, what do I need to know? Is that too broad? Or what do I have to know to get through the next 10 days? You know what? That sounds fine. You know, whatever it is, set your intention appropriately. Instead of trying to work with all of the deities that are similar, so yeah, like Shiva, Hecate, the Morrigan, if I'm going to work with all three of them at the same time, I'm going to confuse myself. Instead, pick one, focus on that particular deity. And if that deity, after doing some research, is not the one giving you the signs, you know, go on to the next one. Again, this is why we're journaling as we move through. We do our research and we learn. And it helps you to stay focused on your path, because if you're trying to do all the things...
You've got too many paths.
Mm-hmm. It was the jack of all trades, master of none. Sure, you can know a little bit about a lot of things, but you're not going to be very successful. What's Don giggling about?
Well, so today when I walked into the studio, the Paranormal Portal studio, Brent was telling me something. I said, but they're called glaziers. He's like, you and your obscure knowledge. Like, what do you mean? Well, you always have this obscure knowledge that you spout at the weirdest times. I didn't know they were called glaziers. I didn't know what the word exsanguinate meant when you said it. I was like, fine, whatever. You know, obscure knowledge, sorry.
Well, you know what? That's part of why we're reading to learn rather than reading to entertain. Some of that obscure knowledge is important to us. Some of it is just obscure, and you wonder why you get stuff like that stuck in your head instead of remembering your kids' birthdays, which I get. That's why you have a calendar and you write it down, or you put it in your phone. So let's see. Yeah. Focus. Find your focus. You want to learn more about crows? Read about crows. You want to learn more about... I'm trying to think of something. Pyrite. Learn about pyrite. You want crystals and stones? Yeah, absolutely. Read about crystals and stones. Learn more about them. Tarot. Read more about tarot. Get a couple different books. Try a couple different decks. No, you don't have to have a deck gifted to you. You can buy your own. My stars. It's not a closed practice. And I know this because there's a lot of different cultures that have card reading, not just the gypsies. Lucky says build your library. Yeah, build your library. Buy some books. Books are good for you. Books are a good investment. If for no other reason, then it gives you some place to go back and reference other material.
Or somebody else might be looking for that piece of material.
Exactly. And just like I often carry a pocket full of different stones and rocks, I know generally what's in my pocket. And if I bump into someone out in public and they're like, hey, by the way, you know, I understand you do this, or you know more about that, and I've been looking for this thing. It's like, oh, by the way, I have that in my pocket. Here, have a good day. You know, sometimes you're just...
when in doubt, throw them at them.
Yeah. A rock a day keeps the dock away. Is that what it is? And
it's just a matter of how hard you throw it.
Yeah. And Lucky says she likes finding out the special something and how it comes to you out of the blue. Yeah. Sometimes in your journaling things, like, you know, I've written about walnut trees like 5 times in the last week. I wonder what's up with walnut trees. You Google, you know, pagan walnut trees. What's it mean? The meaning of the wood. Or... a
rock a day keeps the punks away.
There you go. Yeah. instead of just focusing on the correspondences of the walnut tree, for instance, maybe you need to look at some of the homeopathic aspects of the walnut tree. Did you know that if you take the leaves and you dry them and you steep them, you can make basically walnut leaf tea? It's good for your skin, for rashes and irritations. The walnut hulls, the green part, the outside, you dry those and you can use them as a dye because they are a stain.
Walnut
Literally,
stain.
it's a stain.
Literally.
So, when you're dreaming about something repeatedly or encountering something repeatedly, you do your research, you figure it out, and write down the information so you have it, so you have that resource to go back through and use it. Yep, you can use a tincture with the holes to get rid of parasites too, if that's what you want to do. So yeah, and it's not just with walnuts. It could be with selenite. It could be with salt. If you're dreaming of...
Once again, salt is one of those things. if you're gonna use it, throw it in their eyes.
Depending on the salt, yes. You, I don't know.
I've been assaulted.
I've got a salt block. If you dropped it on someone's foot, they'd notice that too. So, just, or maybe you just need to put salt in all four corners of the house, or maybe you need to carry more tourmaline in your pocket, or, there's so many ors and whats and all those things. Don't get so focused on having to have a deity that you just pick one or all of them. Do your research, slow your roll, take your time. Being a pagan or being a witch is not a race. It's not a contest. It's not a competition. It's that's not what it is. It is a journey for yourself. That's part of the reason why I see life as an adventure. It's a journey. You go up, you go down, you go sideways, you go slogging through the mud, you climb the mountains, you see the sunrise, the sunset, you go fishing, whatever. It's an adventure. You're learning more about yourself as you are just out on this adventure. And as Don is yawning, I'm going to make him talk. What do you think? Slow down? What's your focus?
What?
Focus.
What?
Focus.
My focus is just making it through day by day and the best way I can.
Yeah. Don't overwhelm yourself. There is enough stuff going on in the world to overwhelm you.
And that's what a lot of it's for, too, is to overwhelm you and take away your ability to think critically.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, don't let the outside stuff overwhelm you. This is, again, why we journal. Get rid of all that stuff. Ignore it. Be aware of it, but don't wallow in it. And if you're really focused on which deity you need to work with, dream about it. Use your pendulum. Do I need to work with a deity using your pendulum? If it says no, accept it as no. Don't ask the same question 6 times. You're liable to get the pendulum in your eye, because your spirit guides will be like, dude, we already gave you that answer. We gave you that answer 6 times. We're done. We're moving on. Go get the chocolate. So, and yes, Lucky says being a witch is personal. You cannot be set upon a template.
It cannot be set.
Yeah, it cannot be set upon a template. So yeah, there is a template for learning, research, study, read. Write the notes, figure the stuff out. That is a template. But each of us has our own journey to find out the information that we need to find our successes in life, to find our joy, to find our happy, to find our love, to find our tribe, if you will. Apparently my tribe is mostly online. And you all are sparkly squirrels. So, in closing, because we've got about a minute left, don't get overwhelmed by the stuff. If you do get overwhelmed, because that's okay, it happens, ground yourself out, do the deep breathing, wash your hands of the stuff, whatever it is. Don't lick anybody's eyeballs because you don't want to get sick. And just breathe. Focus on what's going to make you happy and not so much on reacting to what's making you upset. Whether it's in the news or with your family or with the politics or the COVID or whatever it is, your coworkers. Yeah, take a deep cleansing breath. You'll be fine. You've got this. 2021 will not win. So, if you have any questions, send me an email. It's wildpaisley@gmail.com. And don't be afraid to check out iLife.com. iLife's the official sponsor of Truth Frequency Radio. And yeah, if you want to just sponsor my addiction to YouTube and Truth Frequency Radio, hashtag is the $, TheSpacesBetween. But we'll see you next week. Merry meet and merry part. And merry meet again. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
As we will, so mote it be, the spell forever done.